Hello everyone, I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and welcome to today's video, my top 10 black, bold, and benevolent fragrances that will help you transition from summertime into autumn or fall. Now, as you well know, autumn and fall are two words that are used interchangeably to mean the same thing, and that is cooler weather that is coming. And one of the first signs of cooler weather is the change in the color of the leaves in the trees. The weather starts getting a little bit cooler in the morning. There are fragrances that actually help us transition from the high heat of summer into that little bit cooler weather, and we're gonna go over 10 of them when we return, that and more, so stay tuned. Hey guys, and welcome back. In my video today, the title serves two purposes. First of all, just like the wild and wonderful whites of Zest Dominion that I talked about, my top 10 zesty kind of white presentation fragrances that are citrusy and zesty. This is gonna be my top 10 black oriented or black presentation fragrances. And number two, they're gonna be fragrances that help us kind of transition from warm weather into cooler weather. So let's go ahead and get into that list. Starting off at number 10 comes from the house of Lacoste. It is the L1212 or L1212 line, and it is Lacoste Noir. Now you have to forgive me, I don't have the actual cap for this. This is what it came with. This was a tester. You can get testers at a really good cost, so when you're purchasing fragrances, make sure to look for an unboxed or a tester version first before going straight for the boxed version. Lacoste makes a really great line in the L12 or L1212 line, and Noir is no exception. Top notes of watermelon, pineapple, and red berries gives us more of the summertime sensibility or essence. In the mid, you've got Egyptian basil, lemon verbena, and lavender, resting on a base of dark chocolate, coumarin, cashmerein, and of course patchouli. Kind of like a representation of those changes from summer to autumn or fall, with the top there with a very citrusy, fruity top, and then resting on a base that is going into autumn or cooler weather of that dark chocolate, that coumarin, the patchouli there, giving it a rich, darker, earthier essence. So released in 2013 from IFF, which is International Flavors and Fragrances, Lacoste Noir coming in at my number 10. Coming in at my number 9 spot, released in 2016 from the dual efforts of Jean-Claude Delville and Benu Lapouza, is an Alfred Dunhill fragrance called Alfred Dunhill Icon Elite. Now this is from the Icon line of fragrances, which are all very good. Icon Elite though represents like the perfect transitional fragrance because it's got a lot of those warm, spicy notes in it that also deepens down into a darker, richer, changeable experience. Bergamot, kaffir lime, cardamom, Sicilian bitter orange in the top, sage, black pepper, vetiver, and juniper in the mid, resting on a base of ebony, labdanum, sandalwood, and black suede. So as you can see, with a mix of fragrant notes like that, in the top you've got bright citrusy notes. It becomes a little bit powdery and balsamic in the mid, and very rich, earthy, and woody in the base. That seems to be kind of like the flow of things or the formula of great transitional fragrances. Icon Elite is just that. Great performance, excellent to wear in the morning, mid-afternoon, at nighttime. Very versatile and performs very well. Coming in at number 9, Icon Elite. Coming in at my number 8 spot is a very well-known fragrance from Salvatore Ferragamo. It was released in 2009. It is Parfum Black, or otherwise known as F Black. And of course, I have it turned backwards. So you know the Salvatore Ferragamo F line has that nice belt, like the leather belt, the silver buckle. I believe the original, the OG has kind of a red F here, whereas the black has the silver or white, however you want to say it there. Excellent fragrance. This one here is very, yeah. So you get that coumarin, you get that cardamom. It's a really nice blend or mix. You get that pepper that helps it lift off the skin. It also is a great transitional fragrance because again, you've got those citruses and you've got those richer notes. It opens with almost like a pungent sweet notes from apple and lavender combination. And then it tones down into a few minutes. The lavender becomes almost herbaceous and a little bit floral or flowery. In the heart, you've got black pepper and coriander that gives it that spicy accord that we all love. And then of course, drying down in the bottom of a base of labdanum and tonka bean. So again, excellent transitional fragrance, made my number 8 spot. Very wearable, very versatile, really can be worn anytime, but I highly recommend as the days start cooling off a little bit, F Black will be a great companion for morning, mid-afternoon, and of course nighttime. There's something a little bit mysterious and the sweetness about it. Also gives it a nice dating sensibility as well, so extremely versatile, and again, that's why it makes my number 8 spot. F Black, or F Parfum Black by Salvatore Ferragamo. Taking my number 7 spot is a fragrance that came out in 2013 from well-known master perfumist Alberto Moria. And to me, I think it represents some of the best features of the Bulgari Man Black fragrance line, and that is Bulgari Man Extreme, a well-known presentation from the top of black and the bottom of silver. Bulgari Man Extreme is a very aromatic, fragrant, transitional fragrance. And again, in that formula where the top is very citrusy, you've got pink grapefruit, Calabrian bergamot, and cactus peel, which is unusual, but adds a great element to the top of Man Extreme. You've got freesia, Guatemalan cardamom, and amber in the mid, resting on a base of Haitian vetiver, benzoin siam, and balsa wood. Another summertime fragrance with a hint of transitional values. Zesty grapefruit and bergamot combined with sweet cardamom, quickly followed by a background layering of vetiver. If you like zesty, citrusy fragrances that also have a bright bergamot, similar to the Acqua di Parma line, but much more affordable, you'll love Bulgari Man Extreme. And that's why it comes in at my number 7 spot. Another excellent transitional fragrance, and coming in at my number 6 spot, is a well-known fragrance from Carolina Herrera, and it is called CH Prive. Prive is often called the bad boy fragrances because it's got that whiskey and leather essence in it. Even though that leather is quite light, it is still a very, very nice note or fragrant note in this fragrance. Oddly enough, Carolina Herrera released a fragrance called Bad Boy, which I guess was supposed to be an extension or a flanker of this. It's okay, slightly generic. You could also use that as a transitional fragrance. However, I feel like CH Prive is going to be a better offering. Grapefruit, lavender, sage, red thyme, and cardamom comprise the top notes. You've got a whiskey heart, and then of course a leather. You've got benzoin and tonka bean in the base. Prive begins with sweet cardamom, which is then conjoined by a tart grapefruit. The tart sweetness gets a little bit of a injection of seduction from the whiskey, and a light leather, as I mentioned, is also in the heart. But that nice sweet cardamom actually lasts from top to bottom. So throughout the life of the fragrance, you get that nice sweet essence of it. Again, mixing with that whiskey and leather makes this a fantastic transitional fragrance from that warm weather into cooler weather. So you can begin wearing this fragrance right now. I actually wore it a couple days ago, really enjoyed it. The mornings are a lot cooler, the evenings are getting a lot cooler. So great transitional fragrance. Now, if you don't have CH Prive, or if you want something similar to this, but maybe a little bit stronger, the Eau de Parfum version of Rojas Mustache is an excellent offering. I really dig this fragrance. It almost made this in place of, however, it is a little bit more of a cool weather fragrance than is CH Prive. Prive is something that you can also wear in a little bit warmer weather, whereas the bottom kind of drops out of this. It's a little bit sweeter. It's not something I would necessarily wear in warm weather, although again, it's completely up to you. To me, when I compared both of them, this one just came out on top in terms of transitional value. But again, you could also use Rojas Mustache. And that's why CH Prive made my number 6 spot. All right, guys, we're in our top 5 countdown of transitional fragrances, or fragrances that help us move from warmer weather to cooler weather. Coming in at number 5 was released in 2014 from perfumist Michel Almaray, who's a Robertet perfumist, and that is Bentley Absolute for Men, or Bentley for Men Absolute, however you want to say it is going to be correct. Now, if you see this and are wondering why it's all black, when it was originally released, it did have a gold top. Now, though, it has a black top. So all of the latest releases are all black, which again is why it made my list. It's all black in presentation, but it also happens to be a fantastic transitional fragrance. One of the reasons that I love this fragrance, the first time I smelled it, I got that essence of dry pencil shavings. It immediately took me back to kindergarten or grade school, where you have that pencil box, that dry dust from the chalk, and then the pencil shaving smell is definitely part of the essence of this. And it's actually a lot more pleasant than it sounds. When you put it in a format of fragrance, It smells so, so good. In the top, you've got ginger, pink pepper, and frankincense. Papyrus, atlas cedar, and sandalwood are in the mid, with a base of amber, oud, and moss. This, of course, puts you in mind of like the Bentley vehicle in terms of the interior, that fresh new car smell. It does contain a little bit of essence of that DNA, similar to Bentley Intense, but it doesn't have that boozy sensibility about it. Combine this with the resinous incense and the buoyant ginger and black pepper and creamy sandalwood. This makes an amazing transitional fragrance from warmer to cooler weather, and that's why it made my number 5 spot. Bentley Absolute for men. This next fragrance was released in 2011 by Hugo Boss. I've mentioned it before in the past as being a really quick grab for a mobility fragrance, meaning whenever you're on the move, you have somewhere to go or something to do, this is one of the best fragrances to give you that energy and zest to do it, and that is Hugo Boss Just Different. In the iconic canteen bottle, you've got the black background and the red lettering and the silver cap. You can't miss it. It was created by the dual efforts of Carlos Benayem and Sophia Labey, and I believe it was back in 2011. You've got apple, mint, basil, freesia, cashmere, and fir tree wood, all combined together to make a great transitional mobility fragrance. It is a great fragrance to just unscrew and spray on. It's so, so good. I love this because it contains that Hugo Boss DNA, which is, in my estimation, apple, mint, cashmere. So you get that trifecta is really, really nice. You get that smooth, rich, woody from the cashmere, the aroma chemical. You've got a synthetic apple, which is synthetic, but it's very crisp and bright and fruity. And then, of course, you get that mint that gives it a little bit of zest and a little bit of kick. And it's super cool, super refreshing. There's also a great transitional fragrance. You know, activities move from high heat into cooler weather. We don't slow down. There's still things you got to do to accomplish. Just Different is a fantastic accoutrement to your everyday list of things to do, whether it's a honey-do list or one you've made for yourself, brand new job you started, whatever the case may be. Just Different is a quick reach, easy grab transitional fragrance. And that's why it made my number 4 spot. All right, guys, we're down to our top 3 transitional or seasonal changing fragrances from summer to autumn. Back in 2018, so it's relatively new to the scene, perfumist Daniela Andrier created what I think is one of the best transitional fragrances on the market, and that is Prada Luna Rasa Black. Better known as Prada Black, is one of the best, most fragrant. It's got a really strange, loud atomizer. Oh man, that smell. That's so, so good. It's one of the best transitional fragrances because it contains elements that you really vibe with and enjoy in the summertime, but also are a little darker, more resinous, more cozy, as it were, that make you kind of like want to snuggle up with a warm blanket, which is a wintertime or a cooler kind of vibing attribute or quality. So to me, it contains the best of both worlds, and that's why it's my number 3, because it's such a great transitional fragrance. You've got bergamot, angelica, patchouli, coumarin, and amber. You've got some slightly powdery or balsamic attributes of this fragrance, but the main component is like a lightly vanillic, lightly spicy note combo of patchouli and tonka bean, aka coumarin tonka bean, which is wonderfully rounded off by the amber. But in addition, it is anchored by the earthy core of angelica. And that's why Prada Luna Rasa Black or Prada Black makes my number 3 spot in best seasonal or transitional from warm to cooler weather fragrances. In 2016, master perfumists Aurélien Bouchard and Alberto Moria got together and created for Salvatore Ferragamo a fantastically gourmand fragrance, and that is Uomo. That's right, the flagship fragrance that harkened 1, 2, 3 flankers. You've got urban feel, casual life, and then of course the wonderful winter fragrance Signature. This is very similar to Signature. You could call it Signature Light with a tiramisu note. Instead of the darker, richer, resinous incense notes. So the best thing, and the reason that this made number 2, the best thing about this fragrance is not only is it a gourmand fragrance, in the top and in the mid, and it does last into the dry down, that tiramisu note that makes it sweet and gourmandy, but it also has a very sensible masculine side to it that in the dry down, especially in long-term wear, when you've got this on hour 6, hour 7, you don't necessarily think, that's a weird, sweet fragrance. It is more like, that's a very masculine, it's a very emboldened, very benevolent. Okay, we'll go ahead and get into the title with benevolent. It's a very benevolent or giving fragrance. Black pepper, cardamom, and bergamot in the top. Tiramisu, orange blossom, and ambroxan in the mid, or the heart accords. Base notes, some of my favorite base notes. You've got cashmere, tonka, and sandalwood. So it's all about the creamy, it's all about sweet, and that's exactly the best adjectives to use to describe Uomo. It reminds you of cooler weather, going into a warm house or a warm room, warming up a little bit, getting some food, some edibles, right? So it's edible, gourmand fragrance makes you think of that. And again, it combines some of those transitional values. Now this one doesn't have that specific formula of citruses in the beginning, but it does have that sensibility to be able to, as I mentioned, in the dry down, it's a lot more masculine, it's a lot more wearable in warmer weather, because I've worn this pretty much all summer. And in the cooler mornings or in the cooler evenings, it's a fantastic fragrance to rock out or wear. It has better versatility in terms of usage and when to wear it than most people think. Give it a shot. And that's why it makes my number 2 spot in transitional fragrances. Salvatore Ferragamo's Uomo. Probably gonna lose a lot of you with my number 1, and that's okay though. If you stay with me, I think you'll understand, at least those who may not like this fragrance, might come to understand why I've chosen it as my number 1. Created in 2017 by Olivier Giotin, perfumist, it is one of the Polo flankers, and yes, it is Polo Red Extreme. Although I wish somebody would grab a cracked version of Photoshop and just take the red out, because I feel like it should just be Polo Extreme, because I don't necessarily care for the red association, although I really like Polo Red, the original EDT. I really do not like the eau de parfum, and if you watched my first impression, you'll know that I think it's just a chemical mess. Now, there are synthetic vibes from this fragrance, but I think there's a time when synthetic is good, and I think this is one of those times. The reason this made number 1 to me is because it contains all the elements of notes and a fragrant scent profile that is perfect to wear in warmer weather, but also perfect to transition into cooler weather. This is what you would term kind of a coffee fragrance. First of all, of course, it's black, and very, very much like Just Different. It's black background with a red logo instead of red wording, so very similar there. The notes are very distinct and easy to identify. It's a great introduction from summer to autumn. First of all, you've got iced coffee for summertime. You've got hot coffee for autumn and winter. You've got citrusy fresh orange to dark rich blood orange, from creamy cashmere to deep rich ebony woods. So it contains all those sensibilities of summer into autumn or fall or cooler weather. And I mentioned earlier that synthetic works when it works well. I'm all about the smell. I'm all about how well it, the body of the fragrance, how well it smells, how well it performs. And that's where this comes into the number 1 spot. And the reason I chose it as my number 1 transitional fragrance in this list is because how well it performs. This is a coffee fragrance that lasts and lasts because of the synthetic aroma chemicals that are used in this. Polo Red is another mobility favorite of mine, and I think it's great that it carries that DNA and that profile, but it kind of falls it up or autumns it up quite a bit with that coffee, with that rich ebony woods. And this again is a great performer, getting 8 to 10 hours, so very close to being a banger in my estimation, in my book. And that's why it made my number 1 spot. Well guys, thanks so much for stopping by and checking out my video list of these transitional fragrances. I hope you own some of them. If you do, please let me know what your experience is like. If you're interested in getting some of these or any of them, please check out the description, and there's links below that will take you to Fragrance X and give you a great discount. And soon you'll have them working in your fragrance rotation, moving from warmer weather into cooler weather. Also wanted to make mention that we're going to do a giveaway in this video. The number 4 fragrance in the transitional fragrances, which was Hugo Boss Just Different. We're doing a 40 ml canteen bottle giveaway along with a deck of cards. So you can do some shuffling while you smell great, kind of bone up on your card tricks there while wearing Just Different, which is one of my favorite Hugo Boss fragrances. So if you want to enter to win this 40 ml bottle, all you've got to do is leave a comment down below What is your favorite fragrance in this list? If you had to pick a favorite, if you have experience with them, what's your favorite? If you don't have experience with them, just pick a favorite on what it sounds like might be your favorite if you could try them all, right? If you just, in terms of the description that I gave you, what would be your favorite? That's all you got to do. You don't even have to put anything else, but you can even put a number to represent the fragrance. This was number 4, so if this is your favorite, just put number 4. That's all you got to do. But you can also spell it out, whichever way you want to do it. At the end of this week, on Saturday, I will pick a winner and let you know who won the 40 ml bottle of Hugo Boss Just Different and a deck of playing cards. Again, thank you so much for stopping by and checking out this video today. As always, thank you so much for your support of my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you next time.